Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and I want to talk about dungeon mastering and how it's best understood through Denis Villeneuve's Dune 2, specifically as exhibited by Timothée Chalamet, playing Paul Maudib Atreides as the Lisan Al Gaib, right? Because and this is a perfect, and the reason why we want to look to Dune 2 is it's a perfect depiction of how to be the dungeon master and what that actually looks like, right? Because it's incredibly complicated. And hey, welcome to Scott Garibay's channel. You can go right, you can go left, and people will tell you, oh, it's easy to dungeon master. It's easy, to lead a table. That's absolute bunk. Dungeon mastering is, in my humble opinion, one of the most challenging tasks you will ever. It's the most challenging secular task you will ever accomplish, bar none, right? And it's a key. If you can do it, you can do virtually anything in the secular realm. All right. So let me explain. So what is dungeon mastering, right? So the reality is you need to gather the table. If you don't have, 5 players at the table, the red, white, blue, the black and the green, right? The 5 dragons, right? The dragon masters, each one of your players, right? If you don't have those dragons at the table, there is no table. There's no, and by the way, we're only talking about a physical table. If you're running, online Dungeons and Dragons, that's a cute little video game you got there, but it has nothing to do with Dungeons and Dragons. So we're talking about a physical table with physical books, real Dungeons and Dragons, right? With a real dungeon master and 5 real dragon masters, right? So you're gathering this together. You're putting it down, so you're gathering the table. You have mastered the rules, okay? You have a strong understanding of powerful narrative, personally valuable narrative, right? And you're proceeding, right? Here's the kicker. You've read the PHP, the DMG, and the MM. Those are the rules. And you need to learn them and you need to do them, okay? You need to follow those rules, right? Now, this is exactly like Paul Maudib Atreides. He came to Arrakis as an outer worlder. He's from the outer world, right? He's from the home planet of House Atreides, right? But he comes to Arrakis, and when he arrives on Arrakis, he lives as a outworlder for a short period of time in Arrakeen, which is the capital city on Arrakis. It's where all the houses come in order to take spice, right? But then there's the Emperor and House Harkonnen betray him and send him out into the desert. When he goes out into the desert, immediately he connects with Stilgar, right? And he kills Jameis. But what he does then is he immediately takes on every rule of the Fremen, right? You don't cry, you don't spit, right? Without very good reason, right? There is a reason. There's like one reason to spit. But you don't just spit your water on the ground, right? You wear the still suit. You wear it correctly, right? You respect the desert. You walk without rhythm. You follow me? All right. So you do what the Fremen, you take on the way of the Fremen, right? And he does that. He does that all the way through, right? Until he goes to the south, and in the meeting of the south, there's a war council, right? And Stilgar has told him, you're not going to be able to speak in this war council. And the reason why is only Fremen leaders can speak, right? You're like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, only Fremen leaders can speak. Well, and so Stilgar's like, so you need to kill me the way you killed Jameis, and then you'll be able to speak. So, and Paul Maudib Atreides says, no. I'm not going to call you. I would rather cut off my own hand than kill you, Stilgar, right? And he's also, Paul Maudib Atreides, he's already established leadership, military squad leadership. He had 200 men with him he had 200 Fremen, not men, Fedaykin, right? Like, right? So he has 200 Fedaykin with him when Gurney Halleck meets him, and he's like, "You have 200 Fedaykin? You know, like not even Fremen, but like the best Fremen fighters with you?" And he's like, "Yeah, you know." And he goes, "They used to be friends, now they're followers, right?" It's profound, right? So what's really interesting though is, so we get to the point where the Lisan al Gaib is the dungeon master, and this is what you need to understand. You need to master the rules, and you need to follow them until you decide to break it. And you don't decide that until it's needed. It needs to be needed, right? The Lisan al Gaib, Paul Maudib Atreides, when does he break the Fremen rule? He breaks the Fremen rule when he needs to speak in the War Council, right? And so he starts speaking, and Stilgar immediately says, "This is not the way. You know, this isn't the Fremen way. You're not Fremen. You're not the leader. You're not a leader. You can't speak. This isn't the way." And Paul Maudib Atreides turns back to Stilgar and he says, "I am leading the way." And everybody gasps, right? And he walks to the center dais. And he's like, "I'm Lisan El Gaib, baby." Like, you know, I am leading the way. It was your way until I said it wasn't. I am changing this. And I'm not changing everything. I'm honoring all your ways. But I am leading the way now, and I will break this rule. And the moment I break it, it's broken forever. Like, you know, there'll never be another War Council where the old ways are honored. I am leading the way. And this is what it takes to be a dungeon master. You can't break the rules until you've shown you know them and you can follow them. And you cannot break the rules willy-nilly, right? You can't just do what you want whenever you want. You break the rules when it's important. You break the rules when it's needed, right? And when you break the rule, you make the new rule. He was leading the way. He was becoming the Lisan al Gaib, the voice of the outer world, the one everyone listens to. That's what a dungeon master is. The voice of the outer world, the one everyone listens to, the one who leads the way, the one who breaks the rule to make the rule. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.